Hello, my name is Mark Smith. This is my capstone presentation for the Instructional Technology Specialist Program here at Kennesaw State University. My capstone project was entitled Using Blended and Personalized Instruction in Middle School Math. It was conducted during the 2017-2018 school year at Bear Creek Middle School in Fulton County Schools. Problem and need. According to news headlines, on a national scale, Georgia isn't doing very good as it relates to math scores on the NAEP. According to the NAEP math scores in 2015, Georgia ranked 49th out of 50 states in 4th and 8th grade math scores. This isn't very good on a national level. Not to mention with the new milestone test, Georgia hasn't been doing fairly well as it relates to being proficient in 8th grade and 5th grade math. To bring it closer to home, out of 23 middle schools in Fulton County School District, Bear Creek has always ranked at the bottom along with 6 other middle schools that just so happen to reside south of the Atlanta airport. My principal realized change needed to happen, so he decided to do some things differently as it relates to math. So Bear Creek was awarded a $1.25 million grant from the Georgia Innovative Fund. Fulton County Schools, in partnership with New Classrooms and Kennesaw State University's iTeach Center, implemented the Teach to One math program here at Bear Creek. This program was developed by New Classrooms, where they generated personalized learning plans based on student data, which coincides with Fulton County's vision for personalized learning. So Teach to One is basically a personalized math instructional program where basically you have students on different levels. Like, for example, you might have a 7th grade class, all on different levels from 4th all the way to 8th, and everybody sort of has their own playlist that they go by. And see if you're going to just picture 4 classrooms that would normally be together at a school. You bust down the walls inside, now you got this big old math lab with over 125 students, broken off into groups, some in the back on a computer, online learning. Some might be with a small group with a teacher going over a lesson. Then you might have some grouped together in a group doing a collaborative practice. So it could be pretty challenging to make sure everything is working, everybody's on a level. But can you just picture that? 4 classrooms, walls tear down, over 125 kids in this big old room learning. Let's take a glimpse at how that looks. See, that's how the first modality should look. Kind of intimidating, huh? Well, that's why the school year, 2017-2018 school year, is the last year of the grant. With the expensive price to renew the grant, along with minimal gains of the MAP scores and virtually no gains in milestone scores, Bear Creek Middle School may have to look elsewhere to fill the void to stay on track of Fulton County's personalized learning vision. I intend to fill this void. Capstone Project Plan. By the end of the 2017-2018 school year, the grant for the Teach to One program will be done, and it will not be renewed for the following year because it's too expensive for the school district. And like I said before, they haven't shown any real gains, virtually no increase in milestone scores. And this will lead to a huge void in Bear Creek Middle School's math department, which is trying to increase student achievement and at the same time address the personalized learning for the district's vision. I intend to fill this void with my capstone project. I plan to implement a blended program of my own that will make students motivated to learn and increase math achievement. The goal of this project is to really just increase student math achievement and math scores on the milestone, as well as just regular grades, math grades. I have 3 main goals that I plan to accomplish when doing this capstone project. The first goal, by May 25th, 2018, at least 90% of the 7th grade math teachers will have created their Microsoft Class notebook. I plan to do this by having a workshop on teaching teachers how to set up their Microsoft Class notebook, have a video tutorial, and also set up monthly meetings to help out teachers setting up their notebook. My second goal by May 25th, 2018, is that all 7th grade teachers will increase their use of digital formative assessments by 95%. And I plan to, again, have a workshop, have a video tutorial, and set up monthly meetings to work with teachers individually. My last goal is by August 1st, 2018, is to have at least 95% of 7th grade math teachers ready to implement the new blended learning program that we have created together. And I'm going to present a workshop on flipped lessons, creating flipped lessons, along with designing classrooms, helping teachers design their classroom to make it a blended math program setting. Almost like the Teach the One program, however, with the walls up in their own class and being able to break them into groups. I plan to use the station model rotation, where students will virtually rotate between groups. We have an online learning section, or a small group working with the teacher, and then another group collaborative working. So that's what I plan to learn. Here's a little bit on blended learning.
The big idea behind blended learning is combining online learning in brick and mortar schools with teachers, where students can learn at their own pace so that they can optimize their individual learning.
Combining the best of teacher instruction and computer-based instruction.
The world that we live in today isn't about paper and pencil, it's about computers. Having our kids become comfortable and familiar with that now is going to better prepare them for the world when they leave this school.
Blended learning can actually personalize for every student's individual needs to meet them where they are when they need it.
I plan to combine the brick and mortar model with the online learning model by implementing virtual learning platforms, inquiry project-based learning, game-based learning, and direct instruction. As stated before, I plan to use the station rotation model, where we'll set up 3 to 4 groups. One group will be computer-based instruction, where students are online, working online, looking at those flipped lessons, taking notes, using guided practice. Another group would be teacher-led instruction, where you have the teacher working with a small group of students, normally 8 to 10, and they're working on a lesson. Another group would be where students work in a group and collaborate on a task, usually a real-world problem, and they just where they're applying the math standard. I may have a 4th group, which could be another computer online learning group, or an independent practice group where they're working on a particular math skill, maybe a worksheet. For the evaluation plan, the teacher will take a follow-up survey to see how far they have grown in learning the Microsoft tools and digital formative assessments. For the blended math program, administrators will do a formal and informal observation throughout the following school year to ensure that implementation has taken place in the correct format. Description of Capstone experience. The first part of the project was to create a survey to see how well the math teachers use technology in the classroom, since the Teach the One program was sort of scripted. After that, I created a workshop to set up teachers on how to use the Microsoft Class notebook. The Microsoft Class notebook will be used to house our lessons as relates to the standards, and also house our graphic organizer, our handouts, our notes, things of that nature, and also it could house us the assessments. So I did a workshop with that during the planning times. However, got a lot of schedule conflict because teachers were having meetings, conferences, so I missed out on a lot of teachers. So I had to create a actual video tutorial for them to look at, and then I also set up times before and after school where they can meet to get help with setting up their class notebook. Very few teachers, however, took advantage of both of those options. The next part of the project was setting up a workshop on how to do flipped classroom lessons. I also did it during collaborative planning times. However, pretty much had some of the same issues with the scheduling conflicts, IEP meetings, conferences. So again, I created a video tutorial on how to set up classroom, flip classroom. And One thing that I did mention was that we did use the Microsoft Office mix. However, that program was Scratch, so I just basically showed them how to do the PowerPoint with the voiceover. And yes, you can pull from different websites or go online and find your own lesson, but I explained to the teachers that the students really like to hear your voice when they're doing those flipped lessons. To me, it sort of makes them try a little bit harder. So, but that was kind of easy because the teachers are already familiar with using the PowerPoint. Now, the goal with the Microsoft Classbook was for us to collaborate as 7th grade math teachers and each do lessons based on the units in the math curriculum for 7th grade. So we started out with Unit 1 and Unit 2, then we would just split up the other units and so forth, and meet at like once a month to get them done. But what ended up happening, teachers just really wasn't following through, and I get it. Schedules, all the things that we have to do as teachers, along with trying to implement, create this digital notebook. But at the same time, the digital notebook was for the future. So it got to a point where I literally had to create Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3 and Unit 4, which was a bit overwhelming because it was just me. But at the same time, it's my project. I understood where the teachers were coming from with all the extra time and having to take extra time to create those lessons. But that was kind of hard, but it had to get done. Next, I visit the teacher classroom to help design the blended learning station rotation model set up in the classrooms. Pretty much how I envisioned it, with the 3 to 4 stations, 1 online instruction, 1 teacher-led direct instruction, and 1 where students are working collaboratively or independent practice where they may be working on a worksheet. Then I presented a lesson on digital common assessments, where teachers learn how to create digital common assessments. Now, I didn't really have to do it from scratch because in the middle of the year, Bear Creek purchased a program called Illuminate, where they had formative assessments set up automatically that were already created based on the standard. Discussion. So what I did was a little workshop presentation on that, using the Illuminate, how to pick the standard, create the digital formative assessment, and I did that through a collaborative planning time, which was very useful because it allowed us as a math group to have common assessments where we were teaching the same thing, testing on the same thing, giving the same exact test every other week. So it allowed us to get quick feedback and use differentiation instruction as relates to who did what, where the students passed, the students that passed were grouped, students that made very high were grouped, and the students on a different level were grouped. So it worked out phenomenal. The teachers were able to use the presentation, and it went on from there. Discussion and reflection. Overall, the Capstone project was a great experience. It brought out a leadership skills in me that I didn't even know I had. My colleagues were very impressed on the leadership role that I took. Also, my administrators were very impressed with me taking charge, finding a solution just in case we lost a grant for the Teach to One program. A couple of recommendations I would suggest is that I would prefer to get a group of teachers during the summer, and so that we could take like 1 week to create that digital notebook and those lessons. Maybe give the teachers a stipend as well. Trying to do it in the middle of the school year could be very hectic. It was hectic because teachers are doing a lot during the school year. Another suggestion is that as teachers, whatever you create, be it lessons, digital notebook, always make sure you create it on your own platform or your own laptop. Because anything you create on the school district's laptop or their platform, for example, Bear Creek was a Microsoft school, we use Microsoft Office Suite. Anything you create on there actually belongs to Bear Creek. Because as a teacher, you may move from district to district, and you won't be able to take it with you. So make sure you have a backup on everything you create. Other than that, it was a great experience. I think I'm ready to become a technology specialist, and I owe it all to Kennesaw State. Thank you.